Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I am Dr. Goat. Today we're out here with the Kawasaki Ninja 400 and we're going to be installing the TST Industries Fender Eliminator. So here is how the bike comes stock with this big old thing hanging off of here. So that is what we're going to be eliminating. This will not be a how-to video. There is a few different videos actually from TST Industries on doing this online, so that's what I'm going to be following along with. That's what I would recommend following along with. Alright guys, so here we are just removing the rear seat. And then you've got your little pull lever to remove the actual driver's seat. Now to remove that back panel, we are pulling a couple of the pins and taking out these couple bolts holding that part of the latch down so that we can finally remove that last pin there and pop that right out. So from there, we are removing 4 bolts that are holding that fender on. They are awfully tight and they're a 5mm Allen. Before fully removing those though, we need to disconnect the tail light and the turn signals, which this will involve 3 clips, little push and pinch type clips, if you will. From there, the wires are tucked in this little rubber boot, so I'm just pulling that free. And from there, finally removing the bolts, and on that last bolt, I'm going to hold the fender just so it doesn't fall. From there, we have these 4 bolts, and these will require an 8mm socket, so we will go ahead and take those out. From there, we can now get to these 4 bolts. There's one on each side of that. These first 2 in between the seats require a 3mm Allen wrench. And these 2 take a 4mm. After removing those, you can pull back on that plastic, and using your 8mm once again, you can remove 2 bolts here. That'll give you room to pull back these lower plastics and remove 2 Phillips screws. Then right back by the tail light, you have 2 of these bolts that are 4mm Allen heads. And that'll free you up to pull off these side panels back here. You just got to be careful getting them around. And at the very back towards the tail light there is a little kind of slip-in piece. So be sure to just pull to the back of the bike when you get there. Once again, 2 more of these Phillips head screws. From there, you've got these little pop pins that I am just pushing on the middle of them with, and they come free. And that will allow us to remove that top plastic. And lastly, to get this tail light out, we have 6 more Phillips head screws. 2 of these are just holding that plastic up. These 2 are holding the bracket, which are holding the tail light in. There's the bracket. And then these 2 are just holding the bottom of the tail light in. Now the tail light has those little rubber grommets at the bottom that you'll have to push up on to pop them free. And before being able to fully remove it, this, as I'm showing you, is a little clip. It's actually hooked up in the metal there, and you'll have to use some pliers or something to pop that free, and then you can unhook it. Here's the new light. Ooh, sorta nice. I put those rubber grommets in this one. And we're going to go ahead and slip it into place, making sure to get that top up under there. Snap those in. Once it's in there, I am putting that top mount back in with the 2 Phillips head screws. Then moving on to the screws holding the bottom of the tail light in place. And of course the last 2 that hold the whole plastic there up onto the frame of the bike. Now here's where I messed up initially. If you can see the wires, which I didn't really show you them all that well, but the brown wire coming from the new taillight should actually be on that gray plug, and the green wire should actually be on the black plug. I have those reversed at the moment here. Those are the turn signals, and yeah, like I say, they were swapped backwards. And then I am just plugging that back in, and I'll snap that back up into place when I'm done. So here we are testing out the turn signals and the brakes. Everything's working good. Both turn signals, front brake, and rear brake works. Alright guys, so we had to leave for a while, but I did get some of these pieces back on. I was going to tell you guys that you'll pretty much just be doing the reverse of what we did to pull the bike apart, but if you can see that, I think that looks pretty good. I do have a license plate light, you know, from TST Industries, but I'm going to put that on at a later point because I want to wire it up a little differently than the things that it comes with. But another note on this is, if I haven't mentioned it already, we do not have the LED relay. I just ordered that yesterday, so I'm just gonna put that on when it comes. But until then, I'm gonna wait, and I'm just gonna put everything back together right now. And yeah, once it's back together, well, I guess before I put this back seat on, I have to mount the license plate holder. Alright, so going through this in reverse, obviously I didn't show you a few things there, but here I am putting those 4 bolts back in. Right now just hand tightening them, but I did obviously end up going back through with a ratchet just to snug them down that little bit more. From there, I put these other 2 bolts back in. Remember, all 6 of these are 8mm. And snap that back in. And once again, on the left-hand side of the bike, bolt in and snapping the plastic back. So here we are putting our 2 bolts that have the 3mm Allen wrench head on them. Then moving to the back of the bike, we are putting on the 2 4mm. And of course these 2 4mm screws. Okay, so there we have all the bolts back in, besides that little tray, which actually I think I gotta take that back out to put the tray back in. Yeah, but anyways, even though you probably can't see anything in here, where you can see these 4 holes, I believe 2 of them just get blocked off, and then the other 2 are what the license plate will mount to. Here, installing the license plate bracket came with its own 2 bolts and washers, and that required a 10mm wrench as well as that 3mm Allen. And if you can't tell with this horrible view, I am putting 2 of those 4 original bolts and nuts back in place, and that will require that 5mm Allen as well as a 13mm wrench. And finally, last thing before being able to put the seats back on is putting this tray back in, which is just a matter of putting the 2 pins in as well as their clips. So here we are putting the seat in, making sure to put the front in first because of its little hooks that it has. And finally onto the rear seat, making sure to put the rear in first. Alright guys, there it is. Wow, it's dark. As I've said, we still got to put the LED relay in, and I need to put the license plate light on, but I will show you how the lights work right now. I haven't messed with any. I know they're programmable, but I haven't messed with any of that. But just so you know, the blinkers will blink fast without that relay in. All right. Rear brake, front brake, left turn, right turn. I'll have to get a side-by-side photo of before and after, but I think it looks so much better. I think it really just cleans up the back end of the bike. But yeah. Anyways guys, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Drop a comment down below if you've got any questions or any recommendations for me. And as always, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.